Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Gotta always wait till it kind of hits that like high music, kind of high thing going on there. Hello, everybody. This is Caddy Frink, your host for Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. We had a replay last week, and I was missing everybody. We just couldn't get here. So welcome back to the show. My name is Caddy Frink. As I said, we're here on AM 950, the progressive radio station. I have a guest across the table from me. And what is your name, lovely person?
Well, hello. My name is Patricia Carter.
Patricia Carter, it's so good to have you as a guest.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thanks to some of our donors and to our volunteers and some various organizations, because that's what we do here. So we want to say a special thanks to some generous donors and funders. Some have sunsetted, but we want to give credit where credit is due for the Patrick and Amy Butler Foundation, the Outer Burma Trust, the Sauer Family Foundation, the Hardenberg Foundation, alongside many other corporate, definitely individual volunteers. Can't have Minnesota Recovery Connection run without those volunteers, can we, Patricia?
That's right. We need them.
We need them big time. So as we all know, there's a lot of financial stuff going on in the world right now, particularly for nonprofit organizations. We're going to be part of the Give Minnesota that's coming up on November 20th. So if you happen to be in a generous mood, feel free to donate to Minnesota Recovery Connection. We are people who serve people who are struggling with substance use disorder, aren't we, Patricia?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I'm going to ask the question of the hour, which is, what is right with you, Patricia, today?
Well, what is right with me today is I woke up grateful. Grateful for the basics, to get up out of bed by myself, unassisted.
Yes.
And to be able to breathe and to enjoy a brand new day. It's a beautiful day outside. It's November.
I know.
And we don't have a big coat on.
No, we do not.
We don't even have to put boots on. I mean, I got them ready, but I am so grateful to be in long-term recovery and to be able to give back in service to my community and to be available for my family.
Nice.
Family's big for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for my family too.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what's right with me. So what's right with you, Caddy?
What's right with me is that I get to be across the table from you, because we've known one another for a while, sort of in like passing and here and there. So when I get to sit down in front of this radio microphone and talk to somebody who I get to know a little bit better and get to find out their story. We drove over here and we had some nice conversation in the car. We have some big commonalities, which we're going to talk about. But what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for a lovely day. It's going to be a lovely weekend that's coming up. I'm also going to see a bunch of people this weekend for different reasons. I don't have any direct family, so I've got indirect family. I'm going to actually be volunteering for a Thanksgiving recovery event for one of the organizations in town. Anything Helps is having Thanksgiving dinner. If anybody's interested, you can catch it on our Facebook page. But it's just nice to have people around. It's nice to just be kind of chill, but this is going to be one of those big weekends where I've got a lot going on, and that's okay too, because then it kind of reminds me that there are other people that need just to be loved and talked to.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So Patricia is here with me because we are women of, can I say of an age?
Oh, yes.
Okay. We are women of an age, and we have some very similar lived experiences. But first and foremost, Patricia is at the Minnesota Recovery Connection office, and she's officing out of our office. I've said office just about as many times office can be said. But tell the listening folks which organization you're working with and what you're doing, because it's really important. I can give a little history once you describe what you're doing with.
Well, I started in October with Recovery Corps, and I started part-time, and I was assigned to Minnesota Alliance Recovery Organizations for recovery. And so the organization comes alongside recovery communities, organizations, and they help them to get more resources, also get certified and bring in more recovery navigators, also advocacy
Mm-hmm.
and more resources. Because sometimes, starting out as a nonprofit, you don't know where to get resources.
You don't know where to turn.
You don't know where to turn. There's grant money that's out here in Minnesota. You don't know where to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so Marco is a dynamic organization. I'm so grateful to be connected with Marco, the staff. It's almost like family,
Mm-hmm.
and I am honored because I didn't know I would be assigned to work inside Minnesota Recovery Connection. So when I got there, I was like, oh, yes, this is going to work.
Yes. Well, I think what the fun part is that you're in the Minnesota Recovery Connection office,
Yes.
which is where Wendy Jones, who is the
Mhm.
executive director of MARCO, the Minnesota
Mhm.
Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations.
Mhm.
And back in the day, this was Wendy Jones's
Yes,
dream
That's right.
to open up what I call the umbrella over the recovery community organizations,
Yes.
which Minnesota Recovery Connection is one of. So
Is
it's sort of like
one.
this,
Oh,
when you came walking in the door, it's like this full circle moment
it was.
because you were part of the training that was way back in the day. I didn't train you, but you were part of one of the trainings
That's
that was
right.
done, as well
Yeah.
as a couple of other
Yeah.
people that we know in common.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so that's the beauty about the recovery community, is that it just overlaps here
It
and
does.
there.
It's so refreshing too. And when I was presented the position, which is a recovery coordinator, a project coordinator, I was unfamiliar with the position, and so there was some kind of insecurities going on.
For sure.
But I took it on because I felt that I had the support, and I took it on because I felt that, you know what, this is a learning experience for me also. And there are areas that I can grow. And so out the gate, learning new things, new skills. And yeah, it was a little scary at first, but I was like, I can do this.
Yes, you can. Well, and I think that's the interesting thing, is that Patricia and I are women who have had jobs. We've had different things that we've done in our lives.
Yes.
And then when we're put in a position where we're kind of a little insecure,
Mhm.
but we have knowledge. So how
Yes.
does the insecurity and the knowledge, how do they interplay together?
Yes.
And there's still a little fear that
Oh
runs in
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
And then what's awesome is that you went from part-time to full-time.
Yes.
And that helped Minnesota Recovery Connection out,
Yes.
because there's some extra hours that you have.
Mhm.
And so I've been partnering with Patricia on building a compassion fatigue 8-part series. And so Patricia and I are pulling together our knowledge and working on pulling together this incredible series.
Yes.
So she gets to learn something. I get to learn something from her. We get to put something together, as well as
Yes.
she gets to work with Marco,
Yes.
Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations. So it's just a blend all over the place.
It is. It's a refreshing experience. Because sometimes when we're in long-term recovery, we can get a little comfortable in
Yeah.
our recovery, and sometimes that's boring.
Mhm, mhm.
So I'm just determined to always keep an open mind to learn something new. But on the inside of me, my grandmother on my mom's side, she was a teacher, so there's a teacher spirit on the inside of me. And so um, before recovery, I ran from that. But now it's like, whatever I learn, I want to share it with someone else because I believe it will benefit somebody else.
Yeah.
You know?
Because this open-mindedness to learn, my grandmother was a teacher as well.
Oh!
And so back in the day because she lived to be 101, and that was 12 years ago. So it was a
Wow.
long time ago.
Mhm.
So a lot of this, I'd love this because our history is going to unwind together. So we're going to take a break real quick. But when Patricia comes back, what we're going to do is I want to hear a little bit of her story about her recovery. She said that she's in long-term recovery. So we'll get to hear
Yes.
what that looks like.
Mhm.
So do come back. This is Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution, here with Caddy Frink and Patricia Carter. And we will come back and share with you more of this recovery journey story. See you on the other side of the break, folks. Thank you.
I've all seen the man at the liquor store, big
got that bebop kind of going, kind of
like
gets you
it.
moving. She's got her head jamming here. Patricia's jamming to the music. Say hello to the people, Patricia.
Hey,
What's up?
what's going
What's going
on?
on? Here we are at Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. I'm here with Patricia Carter. She is working at the Minnesota Recovery Connection office with another organization and slightly from with us, with Marco, the Minnesota Alliance, I would say Association, Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations. So what this all entails is Marco is a nonprofit that supports the recovery community organizations throughout the state of Minnesota.
Yes.
Minnesota is a Minnesota Recovery Connection as a nonprofit. So what it is it, Patricia, it's just about helping people, isn't it?
It's about assisting people in their recovery and making sure they have what they need every day to be successful and productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you stated in our first segment that you have been in long-term recovery. Why don't you let the folks know your recovery, where you're at, because I think that's one of the topics we're going to sort of go into is individuals in long-term recovery, and maybe just a little snippet of your story, maybe when your substance use disorder took off and then where you are, and then we're going to kind of proceed forward.
All right, all right. Well, September 21st of this year, I celebrated 39 years of recovery.
Holy
Long-term
bananas.
recovery. I don't look my age, but yeah, I don't look like what I've been through.
Most of us don't if
And
we've
I'm
been living a long
so,
time.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
so grateful to be in recovery and to learn how to live, how to really live, how to thrive,
Yeah.
not just survive. And like I said before, learn how to navigate life in new ways, exercise, sleeping more.
I know, isn't it fabulous? When did your substance use show up? What did that look
Well,
like?
you know what? I started experimenting with alcohol and smoking weed around 13 years old. I started smoking cigarettes around that same time, experimenting. Remember that song, Smoking in the Boys'
Boys' room,
Room?
yeah,
So I was smoking in the girls' room. Yeah, I was. And I thought it was sophisticated.
Oh,
And I
cool as all get
I was
out.
always attracted to the older generation of people because they had money, they had drugs, they had alcohol. So I was always attracted to them because I wanted to fit in and blend in.
And look cool.
And look cool, look sexy, look sophisticated. And when addiction set in, probably around 15, 16, I also got into a life of prostitution at 15, 16.
Okay.
Supporting the habit and wanting to be around that lifestyle. And so learning that the streets are so cold and navigating, just to be able to support my habit and everything. Got caught up in the lifestyle, but not addressing the addiction at all. And it was a slippery slope.
Well, one feeds into the other,
It
doesn't
does.
it? Yeah, it's like you need the money
Yeah.
for the drugs, and then the activity that gets you the money for the drug then becomes, like you said, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's a vicious circle
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah. And so home life, my mom was active in her addiction. Alcohol was a big factor, parties every weekend, and not really knowing how to address her childhood trauma at all. And so my home life as a child there was anger, a lot of anger in the household, a lot of abuse, physical, verbal. And so the streets became my getaway. And so I began running away from home 15, 16. And so finally all the way out of the house at 16, I remember coming back to get my clothes to leave to go to New York.
My goodness, that's a journey.
I was out of control. But my mom had a plan. She had me admitted into a adolescent 21-day treatment program. I was in total denial. I lied on the Rule 25 assessment and everything.
I bet you did, because that's all you knew how to do.
That's all I knew how to do. And so those 21 days, that only scratched the surface.
Right.
And I got out, did the 21 days, went to the halfway house, and went AWOL within 2 weeks. I just wasn't ready for recovery.
No, but you gotta you got to taste, right? Not sure
Mhm.
what that
I
taste
gotta
was.
taste.
Yeah, tell me
Mhm,
more. I'm on the
mhm.
edge of my seat.
And so, with life, I wasn't in touch with my dad. My dad was an absent father.
Mhm.
And so I really began to reach for older men in my life
Mhm.
to find my dad.
Yeah.
And not knowing how to address abandonment, not knowing how to address unforgiveness toward my dad,
Mhm.
relationships were failures.
Mm.
Um, the romance, yeah, it started out good. I was grinning and skinning. I was, looking pretty and showing a lot of skin.
She taught me that in the car, y'all. I was like grinning and skinning. Tell me more what that means. That's great.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was the romance. I would do well with getting a guy and being in a relationship, but not maintaining because uh, unhealthy boundaries. I didn't know anything about healthy boundaries.
But you had no skills in relationships
None.
because you hadn't learned any.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not. So, at 21 was when I came into recovery, and I tell you, it was a whole lifestyle change for me.
How did you do it at
Um,
21?
well, you know what? My higher power, my faith in God, and I had to remember, I had to change my circle of people.
Everybody.
I put them out. I put them all out. And for a minute, it was lonely.
Sure.
It was lonely. But I began to accept change. I began to accept people who were different, who didn't get high,
Huh.
who didn't lie, steal, cheat.
Or do the skin, grin of the skin.
Yeah, nobody was grinning and skinning. And so I really I had to make up my mind that I wanted to do this for me
Wow.
and not be a people pleaser, because that's one of the things I discovered in recovery. I was a people pleaser.
Oh, girl, we're talking the same language.
And so and it's an ongoing process. Even
Mhm.
now, yeah, long-term recovery, it starts when you put your feet on the floor in the morning. You have to make a decision. You're going to live this life. You're going to live a life of integrity. You're going to help somebody today.
Mhm.
It's not some people say it's a selfish recovery, but my what I discovered about me as a woman in long-term recovery, I have a spirit to serve,
Mhm.
not just family,
Mhm.
but I have a spirit to serve those that I see have a need.
Mhm.
And no matter how small,
Yeah.
no matter how small,
It can be a smile on the street can
there you
change the
go.
day of someone.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn all that. I had to learn how to smile. I
Yeah.
had to learn how to love myself.
Mm.
I had to learn how to forgive myself.
Wow.
I had to learn how to forgive my dad, my
Mhm.
mom. I had to really understand that um, things that we grow up into, it's not our fault. It's nobody's fault. So the blame game, we got to stop with the blame game
Mhm.
and say, you know what? It's time to heal.
Mhm.
It's time to really understand that if I don't take the step to heal, then I'm going to pass down trauma to the next generation.
Absolutely.
And I refuse to do that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm in a class right now and I forgot my class list. I'm going to have to remember. I told everybody that I'd say their name. That I'm in a Recovery Coach Academy right now, a peer recovery
Mhm.
specialist training with the AmeriCorps members, since I have an AmeriCorps person right across from me. And we were just talking about somebody was describing a situation where a child had been possibly not getting, they were getting food, but maybe not enough food.
Mhm.
They had witnessed a little bit of witnessed abuse. And somebody had made the comment, well, it isn't quite food neglect and that isn't abuse to them. And I said, hey, wait a minute. Remember what's called adverse childhood experiences.
Yes.
And the thing to remember, and I think what made me think about it is that what does happen between birth and age 17 has a
Yes.
profound effect on how you're going to
Ooh.
turn out.
Oh, yes.
And we do have to find a way to overcome it.
Oh, yes.
It ain't easy because
No.
you can go down a lot of different ways,
Oh,
myself
yes.
included, totally different stories.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have those adverse experiences as a kid, they will follow you.
Oh, yes.
And you at 21 got into recovery.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm sitting here. If y'all looked at the camera, my jaw was like cracked open, like I was going to collect flies there. Because that's about when I started to heat the bejesus up and went till 39. So I'm just like, what? But I hadn't dealt with anything yet.
Mhm.
I was still in the thick of a lot of illness,
Yeah.
mental illness going around in my family.
Yeah.
And so you began to find the solution,
Yeah.
but it took a while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I think where I'd like to go in this, I didn't want to stop you. Where else would you, what we were talking about when we were talking about this show is that Patricia's of an age, I'm of an age.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we have met our mind meld at, and when
Mhm.
we're talking about compassion fatigue and putting
Yes.
together our class that we're going to be, or the class that's going to be done, and Patricia might be there with me, is when you are a caretaker,
Mm-hmm.
and when you are taking care of maybe a generation younger, children and
Mhm.
or parents,
That's right.
that's when it can get real rough when we're in
Ooh.
recovery. And this is a young lady who still I calling you a young lady because you are. This is a young woman, a woman who is in the thick of that right now. Give just a snapshot. Your recovery has to be super strong for
Mhm.
what you're enduring right now, and just
Yes.
give the folks a snapshot of what it looks like.
Well, being a caregiver, caretaker of a aging parent, my mother is 81. She is dealing with dementia and also some long-term health issues. She was declared legally blind probably around, I want to say 1977.
Wow, she's been
Yeah.
dealing with that a long
Yeah,
time.
and then also with arthritis, really bad arthritis in her lower back and hips, and so she has been in a wheelchair. I'd probably say about 10 years now,
Mm,
and with the dementia, there were early signs, but I didn't know the signs
right.
because if you've never been hands-on with a person that's dealing with dementia, you don't know.
It's just their
So,
change,
yeah,
right? They're just kind of
yeah, they're
different, but
different. Why is
yeah.
she acting like that?
Yeah.
Why is she saying that?
Ah,
And so, I have an older brother, and we're close. We're 2 years apart, but it always seemed like I was the oldest.
mhm.
And so, seeing my mom change, lose her independence, it weighed on me heavy, and at first, I didn't think it weighed on me as much. But, 2021, we had her moved from her apartment, independent apartment living to assisted living.
Mm,
She did okay for about 3 or 4 weeks,
mhm.
but then, she began to lose loved ones. She's had 4 brothers pass away
Ouch. Oh.
between 2017 to 2022,
Ooh.
and the dementia began to escalate with every person that was dying.
Oh.
And I began to watch her and witness the dementia escalate, and it took its toll on me emotionally, but I didn't know, I didn't recognize all the symptoms that I was struggling with depression,
Mhm.
a little touch of anxiety mixed in there.
Mhm.
And so,
And I want to mention one thing that we talked about, and that is grief and loss of the woman that you did know.
yes.
Because that's a big part.
Ooh.
The person that you knew, even if she was a strong-handed woman at one
Mhm,
time,
mhm,
that
mhm.
changed in
Yeah,
whatever way it
yeah.
did. And
Oh, yes.
that grief and loss is a
That
serious
is serious.
space.
And it really it took my therapist because I had to recruit a therapist because the sister needed some help. I needed some help. And so I didn't recognize the anxiety. I knew I was dealing with the depression.
Mhm.
And as I began to talk with my therapist, she was like, "Well, yeah, you're recognizing your mom was a thriving person. She lived, she was independent, she cooked every day, she got up and she made it happen. And now you're witnessing her losing her independence. She's not able to cook for herself anymore. She's not able to do the regular things that she used to do, get up and shower for herself and do those things. And you're witnessing that, and it's taking its toll on you emotionally." I was like, Is that what it is?
Well, and I think it's hard for us to recognize when
Ooh.
we're in the thick of it.
It's true.
And so, and I think the thing that I think is so amazing, you've been able to hang on to your recovery.
I have,
Because
yes.
at the same time of caring
Yes.
for someone else, you have
Mhm.
enough time in, but time
Mhm.
in doesn't mean that
Ooh.
you got it all.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the important things that we've kind of connected on. And that is when my grandmother was
Mhm.
going through hers, I was, 10, 15 years into recovery at
Mhm.
that point.
Mhm.
And I was pretty strong, but I do remember the days much before then when I would
Oh,
go to
yeah.
her place hungover as a mother.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd lay on the floor and I'm like, yeah, grandma, I love you.
Mhm.
You love me. I love you.
Mhm.
But when she started aging and
Yeah.
I was starting to be around all the time that she would
Yeah.
let me, because she didn't have dementia. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
very fortunate in that regard, but
Mhm.
she physically started to break down because she lived to be
Yes.
101.
Wow.
So there's a change physically
Oh,
that happens.
yes.
She was a skinny
Oh,
Norwegian.
yes.
So
Wow.
she was a skinny little Norwegian
Feisty.
lady. But it's just interesting, the idea that we both have this long-term recovery, but it's hard to be a caretaker
Mhm.
because those skills that we learned a long ago,
Mhm.
they don't go away with any kind of speed.
No, no,
And you're
no.
trying to advise your brother right now
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
some stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I had to get the acceptance. Thanks to my therapist, she walked me through some things. And self care. I wasn't practicing self care at first. I was going to appointments, making appointments, setting up, all these different things, and it was taking its toll. And I would have these crying spells. And at first, when my mom was dealing with dementia, she was quite brutal with her words. And I would leave her place in tears. I would get in my car and I would cry and I would pray and I would cry and I would just say, you know what, I need help.
mhm.
And so, but I think that was part of my process of the healing and, you know, acknowledging the grief and loss was being verbal with it.
Right.
Because I was taught as a child not to talk. You
Yeah.
don't talk about your emotions. You don't say when you're frustrated. You don't get the chance to say, I'm angry. You better go in your bedroom and beat that pillow up. That's all you're gonna do.
I don't want to hear it either.
So being able to verbalize
Wow.
where I'm at with it now is big for me, even in every day. Because I mean, she's 81. She's in a long-term memory care facility right now, and it's still tough
Mhm.
to go and to sit there with her and watch her as she loses her activity of her mobility in her arms and stuff. But the acceptance,
That's a big
and
word.
to show up and say no regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets. I'm here. I'm her youngest and only daughter.
Right.
And so it's a pleasure because if I wasn't in recovery, I couldn't show up for her.
You might not even be here.
There you go, a statistic. So I'm so grateful and honored to be able to show up and be in her life. And she tells me too, she says, thank you.
Oh.
She does. And that blows me away. I would have to say maybe about 4 years ago, she said to me for the first time, I'm proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
That blew my mind too.
You just blew my mind because I remember the time
Yeah.
that my father said that to me.
See?
And when that happens, you're just like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Oh my goodness. I had
Those are
never
words
heard that as a
before.
child.
Mm-mm.
And so when she said it to me, it struck my heart. It really did something on the inside. And I was so grateful for being in recovery. And so she's not, as feisty and mobile as she was, but she's still my mom. And I'm just so honored just to be able to show up for her. And have no regrets. And our relationship is the best it's been. Because before recovery, we didn't talk. I was gone. I was doing me, and had a lot of anger and resentment toward her. And I had this attitude before recovery, like, I'm going to show you I don't need you. You're not really my mom. I don't need you. I'm a woman. At 15,
Who the heck knows at
right.
15?
You're not a woman.
Well, and isn't it interesting? Here you are, a woman who's not 15 any longer. who's in recovery for 39 years. My goodness. And how things can turn around and rebuild. But that takes that recovery journey. And it
Yes.
takes the work that you've done, the work that
Yes.
many people have to do in recovery. So part of the messaging that I want people to hear, and that is, if you're in recovery and you've got people you're taking care of, take care of yourself.
That's right.
Like Patricia has.
Mm.
I take care of myself pretty well. I no longer have the people who I have to take care of anymore, other than my mate, my partner, Eric, and the people that I love around me. But it's so important to sustain a recovery state of mind.
Yes.
And give it the attention and whatever that looks like. And I think, one of the things I talk about is that my recovery journey has changed over my recovery time. I'd imagine yours has too.
Oh, yes.
And that's good,
It
because
is.
that means that you're evolving in who you are becoming. And so, for anybody who's out there that has a long time in recovery and you've got these obstacles that are coming up, or you have, like Patricia and I were talking about in the car, we don't move as much as we used to, but now we need to start moving more than we have been. We have to recognize that the aging process in recovery is the same as aging process in life.
That's right.
But when you are in recovery, you got to give it a little extra sweet sauce.
That's right.
Because we might go back to the sweet sauce.
And we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that.
No.
But how attractive some days that could be when I don't feel good. I don't want to do stuff. I love my job, but sometimes you don't always want to go to work.
True.
And sit back and just say, boy, I could just escape. But escapism, we've learned at this point, is not to go into a substance. It's to go into, okay, why am I feeling this way?
Exactly.
What's going on?
That's right. Tackle it.
Yeah. Look at it.
Address it.
Yeah. One of the young men in my class, he was talking about how men have a harder time accepting changes that are going on. They also have a harder time accepting the possibility that they might need some psychological support. And we were just talking about that. And when I was talking to Sue Hoisington, was in my class yesterday, I said, hey, I got a hot tip for you. And he's like, what's that? And I said, what I was told when I was going through my depression after my grandmother died, and I wanted to acknowledge it. I knew I was down. People said I was down. The doctor said to me, she goes, just let's look at this as a situational moment that you're at. So why don't we get you some medications to help this current situation?
I like that.
And that it's okay to need a little help, particularly when you're grieving.
Yes.
Or when you had talked about a job change that happened and you had to really kind of dive into that. We'll talk about that after the break. But sometimes when the situations change, we need a little help.
That's right.
And between physical help, like you're talking about, or maybe a psychologist or psychiatrist, maybe you need some medications to get through a hump. I know one of the other students, Carrie Ann, was talking about how she used some medications to help her get through her meth addiction. And it wasn't the withdrawal as much as it was the psychological withdrawal.
Yes.
Because, there's both of those within that chemicals.
It really is.
So what we have to do is we have to accept the fact that we might need outside things. We can't all just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. That is not realistic.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. And I did. I had to accept that I needed to sign up to see a therapist. I had went through a divorce, and I was in such a deep, dark depression. I started to see the individual therapist first. And I think I saw the therapist, I think it was once a week. I think I may have seen her maybe about 2 months. Then I discovered it's a divorce care group. It's a 13-week group session.
Nice.
Once a week, we work from a workbook and study. But I tell you, just being in the support of a group, I got some breakthroughs.
I bet.
And
that's the thing about recovery is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you and I have discovered as we've matured in our recovery journey. It's a journey. We're going to have these obstacles that happen.
Yes.
A death, a divorce, a sickness, an illness,
Yes.
somebody passing away young and shouldn't have died.
That's right.
How do we navigate that? When we come back from the other side of this break, I want to talk about some of the other steps that you had sort of told me about that you've taken on your recovery. But I just want everybody to know that recovery is a journey. Life is a journey. And when you need help, it is not a weakness to ask.
That's right.
It is a strength.
That's right.
So thank you for listening
Courage.
to Courage. Yeah, thank you. Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950. We'll be back in the flash. Thank you, Aaron Fitzgerald, for this music.
Yes.
I just get goosebumps every time I hear this. Yes. Welcome back to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. I'm here with whom?
Patricia Carter.
Woo! Patricia Carter works with Minnesota Recovery Connection as a office mate, and then she is working with MARCO, which is the Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations, and she is my guest today. And we are talking about what it's like to be in long-term recovery, and then there's that thing called life.
Life.
One of my students back in the day said, life just keeps on lifing, Caddy. And I'm like, yeah, it does. And you know what? Thank God it does.
Yes.
It may not be the way we wanted to show up, but it is there. Okay, I have to do a shout out to my students in my class. Okay, so I've got Jordan, I've got Ryan, I've got Brian, I've got Carrie Ann, I've got Lynette, not Lynette, I'll get it. I have Trevin, I have Winna, I'm looking at all their faces in my head. Jennifer, I think I said that. I'm going to come up with the rest of them. Sorry, I tried to remember all the students without my list, everybody, but they said they're going to listen either tomorrow or Monday. But, it's so interesting to be in a room with a bunch of people who are in their early and mid recovery and how they're navigating. One of the young women, Jacqueline, that's her name. She has 3 babies around her in class and 1 in her belly. And I'm like, how are you managing that? And she's moving this weekend. And I'm like, girl, you got a lot going on. Yeah. And she's able to sustain her recovery. Now that's magical.
Yes. Go, Jacqueline.
That's magical. And so as we're talking about what it's like to be in long-term recovery and as women of an age, there's a lot of people out there that are doing really well, but life is still lifing. And when we were talking, we were talking about, Jake was talking about the medications around with men and a reluctance. You mentioned how medical health insurance came in and you were kind of knocked on the head, say, come on, use these services. And then it came in. And it made me think about when I needed someone. I asked a friend and they said, hey, we've got this wonderful woman and she's available. And I was like, okay. And the timing was perfect.
Right. It was right.
And when all of a sudden somebody shows up at the right time, and it's about an acceptance of the right time, isn't it?
It's right. That's right.
When you say, I need more help.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle it all. And particularly when you are a caretaker, if you're a parent or you're taking care of parents or loved ones or partners or people with illness, whatever that might look like, life changes. Talk about a little bit when you left your place of employment. You were talking about what was that like real quickly?
Yes. So I was full-time salary paid at Turning Point, and I had been there from 2013 to 2024.
Ooh, that's
it
a
was
long
a long
time.
Yeah. And so Dr. Peter Hayden, he retired, and new management, new leadership came in, and my position was phased out. And I was given notice. I was disappointed, but I was also grateful for the notice. And I left and moved on with my life. But there was an element of loss, grief and loss that I didn't see at the time. I didn't notice it. I just kept on living, and then also some depression set in. And I had to really say to myself, okay, you're dealing with this. This is something that you need to address.
It's real.
And you need to get some help. You need to understand that help is out here. You need to verbalize it and address it. And so I thank God for my higher power. I thank God for my circle of people that I feel confident and comfortable enough to talk to and be raw and real and say, you know what, this is a challenge for me. I need your support. I need your input. Do you have any suggestions? You know where I'm at. What do you think? You know?
And I think part of the reason why people sometimes use chemicals is that they're afraid that if they show vulnerability, it's going to show weakness, or it's going to show that you can't cope. It isn't weakness, but sometimes we can't cope with
true.
what's been tossed at us.
It's the truth.
And I just, when we talk about mental health and co-occurring in our substance use disorder world, is it the chicken or the egg? Did a mental health issue come up and then we used a substance to make the pain go away? Or did the substance then make the mental health situation occur? And the idea is that we need to say, if somebody, like, I imagine maybe some of your friends after you turning point ended, they probably saw you a little down, a little upset.
Yes.
But sometimes we don't want to call that out because we're like, I don't want to offend her.
Right.
I don't
want to say anything.
I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
But that's when you say something.
Yeah.
It's like, I care about you so much, Patricia. And I can tell that you've just been not checking other people's calendars out. I haven't seen you enough. And then Patricia goes, well, I'm just being me. And then Patricia, in a quiet time in her house, and she says, that's not me.
That's right.
Maybe they're right. Something is different.
Yeah, something is different.
When things are different, folks, that means that something generally is going on, or life is just changing. And it's like, can I help you out with anything? No, not really. I'm good. Okay, I'm going to check in on you, though. You know that?
Let's do some check-ins.
Yeah,
and I've learned that. I've learned because I needed check-ins. I am mindful of other people and their life changes, and I do check-ins. I text people on a regular when I've heard that they have life changes. When I see that they've had life changes, I check in. I call them. I text them, even if they say I'm fine. Okay, I said I'm here when you want to talk.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've got one of my best friends in the world. Her father is going through dementia really bad and a physical breakdown, and he's outstate.
Wow.
So last night I got on the phone with her because she had gone down to visit him, and she's got a very demanding job. And I was trying to catch her, and I'm like, hey, I got a few minutes right now. And I didn't say much because I didn't need to say much. She had a lot to say.
Awesome.
And she just, and I went from one room to another room. I was in a meeting at work, and the other people could hear her on the phone who were in another room, and they just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, it's good. It's good. She's just getting it out.
Yes.
Because it's so cathartic. It's so helpful to just BITCH sometimes.
That's
just got to let it out.
Let it out.
And, and that's the other thing. If somebody just needs to do a little screaming and complaining,
let it do it. Let it do what it do.
Because it's generally not at you.
That's right.
But you just happen to be present.
That's right.
But they trust you enough.
There you go.
To be their sounding board. You don't have to absorb it.
That's right.
You don't have to fix it. These are all the things that when we get to a certain point, we have to help the next person who's maybe struggling understand it's all okay to not be okay.
That's right.
But say if you need some help. And that's kind of the message that I want to close this up with. And that is, folks, the people that you love, if they're struggling and they might be using chemicals, talk to them, listen to them, just listen to them. Don't offer solutions all the time.
Just show up.
You just, thank you.
Show up.
Just show up. Be on the other end of a text chain. Honey, I'm listening to you. Blah, 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 blah. And you go, I still love you. Say more. Blah, 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 blah. These are, we've got different ways that we can communicate now. You said that you do exercise with a friend on Zoom.
Yes.
I mean, how magical is that? 5 years ago, Zoom was like this
non-existent.
It just was out there. But
intimidating.
Like, what was that? So when we are struggling, when we need help, when we're doing well, let's talk about when we're doing well.
Yes.
having all the wins,
Mhm.
having celebrations around the wins.
That's right.
Just recognizing that this thing called life
Mhm.
continues to life. It ebbs, it flows, it goes ups and it
Yes.
down. But
Oh,
let's remember the ups and then try to ask for help on the lows.
that's right.
Yeah, I just got her. Petra's just
I
like doing this.
agree. Yeah.
She's just in it with me.
Because being verbal, that's my superpower now, is letting people know, hey, I'm having a rough day. Yeah, I'm struggling.
Yeah,
I'm
and
struggling.
that's okay.
Mhm.
Thanks for telling me. What can we do about it?
Mhm.
Well, Patricia, thank you.
Thank you for having
It's
me.
wonderful. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station. We will be seeing you on the next few shows are going to probably be around how do we make it through the holidays? How do we make it through those tough times? Thank you for listening. Have a marvelous day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.